Institutional racism has thrived within American social policy for centuries. The recurring injustices in American history have solidified the existence of a constant oppression against Black people that is still blossoming today. The 2016 election showed progress towards a more racist America. The racist beliefs held by the silent majority are reflections of the systematic racism that runs this country. These racist ideologies that have persisted for years are at fault for the mass incarceration of Black lives, the new Jim Crow. Mass incarceration is the racist epidemic of modern America. We use prison as a means to keep the unwanted in society away, the unwanted being people of color who are then forced to lead lives of crime to survive. From Jim Crow laws to mass incarceration, these injustices are morally wrong when they are unveiled for American citizens to see. So in order to move away from racism and towards justice, morality must be present in public policy.
Of law and morality is one of the most difficult questions. I mean, I've taught several classes about this in the philosophy of law, and there's a big debate between natural law and positive law, and the extent to which law must be moral or law is already moral.
America's laws are positive, which means they hold no moral basis. They ensure oppression and cannot be changed without the rule of law and morality.
Countries that have the rule of law tend to be richer and freer than countries that don't.
The constitutional principle of the rule of law means that we live under known and settled laws that were established in a system that is open for all to see. Like many constitutional principles, many take this idea for granted. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights themselves provide some ways to ensure the rule of law is followed. The Constitution forbids bills of attainder or laws passed to single out one person.
In America, it is impossible to live as a person of color without a high risk of going to jail. The Constitution is supposed to prevent policies that cause this, but the racism is so deeply ingrained that they are not considered bills of attainder. Thus, these policies strip people of color of human rights and the agency to lead better lives as they have no choice but to commit crimes. Racism prospers in our education system and criminal justice system, with both systems contributing to the constant oppression of marginalized groups. With the rule of law, money would be put into education and not incarceration.
Will not have the same prep. So then it seems problematic to claim that the test is completely fair, because it's objectively, everybody has to take the same test, but everybody doesn't come to the test with the same preparation because of institutional racism and others. So the law should take that into account, at least in part. For example, rehabilitation questions. Let's say you put somebody in jail who stole something. Well, I feel very uncomfortable saying, well, okay, you're a person of color, we're going to give you less of a sentence. That's problematic to me because you did break the law. But if you are a person who didn't have a good education, maybe we can actually give you an education while you're in prison. Because then we're still holding you accountable equally to the breaking of the law, but in terms of the punishment, we're also including something that takes into account you. So it's kind of equitable as opposed to equal.
By focusing on morality and the rule of law, difficult conversations in communities can be done with ease when human rights are at stake, giving students the opportunity to succeed and not putting unfair circumstances on people of color can lead to a more just society.
The rule of law emanates from the people of a nation. Yet there are countries where the rule of law is not a common practice.
Without the rule of law, you have a nation where its citizens' fundamental rights and well-being are not protected.
The United States Institute of Peace believes that rule of law is the lifeblood of a society.
One example of how we bring in voices of the people into the process is through justice and security dialogue, where we bring citizens, government, police, and others together to build trust, identify the rule of law challenges, and come up together with joint solutions and strategies.
Acknowledgement is one step towards putting a stop to the institutionalizing of racism, but it will have little effect without the rule of law, in which a government with moral policies respects its citizens. It is time for people to value human rights over racist ideologies, and through acknowledgement and the rule of law, institutional racism can be put to an end once and for all.